Good evening, you all. I, Usman Mahmood, the moderator of today's event. I heartily welcome you all in our lecture series, which is being organized by Progressive Literary and Cultural Society. Today's lecture is on the development of Chinese Indonesian literature and ethnic relations in Java, Indonesia, by Purwanti Kusumatingyas. Firstly, I would like to introduce our today's speaker. Our today's speaker is Purwanti Kusumatingyas. Ma'am is a lecturer at the English Literature Department, Faculty of Language and Arts, Satya Wakan Christian University, Salatiga, Indonesia. Her research interests including diaspora studies, comparative literature, and homeland. In the novel of four Chinese American and Chinese Indonesian writers that she co-authored with Dr. James Bond, is published is in Diaspora Studies, Volume 13, Number 12, on July 2020. She is also writing short stories and poetry. She co-authored with
Does it show on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Right. development of Chinese-Indonesian literature and ethnic relations in Java, Indonesia. It is, of course, a brief overview of the experience of Chinese-Indonesian people that I tried to map in historical chronology. It is important to share the experience, to learn about how the development of literature is inseparable from its socio-cultural and political context. So, Indonesia is a plural society. By statistics, is on the 2010 census. It has, or it comprises about 453 ethnic groups and around 700 local languages. And the ethnic group in Indonesia includes the foreign descent groups such as European descent and other Asian descent, for example, Arabian, Indian, and Chinese. So here is the map of Indonesian archipelago. The colors show the diversity of the different ethnics as well as the different local languages and dialects. Okay, briefly of this evening. Okay, so here is the map of Indonesia with the diverse.
Purwanti, excuse me, we can see only the first slide. Purwanti,
Islands.
we can see only the first slide.
Chinese ethnic, which
Purwanti.
is known as Tionghoa, has grown into the biggest group of the foreign descent ones. And what is unique with the Chinese-Indonesian group is that it has a complex problem throughout the Indonesian history, even until today. In Indonesia, actually, there are other foreign Asian ethnic groups, including Arabian and Indian descent people. However, these groups hardly have conflicts with the other groups. They are often connoted as part of Indonesia because of their closeness to Islam. Map the development of Chinese-Indonesian literature and ethnic relations in Java, Indonesia. In this case, I particularly choose Java as the geographical location of the talk because the history, even though throughout the history the government regulations and rules apply nationally, the issue is very much big. It is big enough in Java, and mostly literary books are published in Java. So I am using this concept to see how the idea that literary history, the idea of history and the context ethnic relations, how ethnic differences matter because of the act of othering, the act of differentiating other groups. These two questions help focus my elaboration about the idea of development of Chinese Indonesian literature. The first question is, what is the context that interferes with the ethnic relations, particularly with the Chinese-speaking people, what it is like throughout Indonesian history? And what is Chinese-Indonesian leadership development like in Indonesia? I would like to start to talk about this from the era of the pre-colonial. Even though Indonesia was officially declared its independence in 1945, the life in the Indonesian archipelago should be traced back to the kingdom eras. That was the time of the pre-colonial, before the European colonial arrived in Indonesia. This kingdom era is known to be spread across the archipelagos, which at that time was known as Nusantara. Nusantara means archipelagos. And the waters there across Nusantara became one of the most important Asian trading centers. People of different ethnics met and blended in the area, and because of the interconnection among people of different ethnic groups, people brought intermarriages, and one of the groups that later, because of intermarriages, they built community of the Tionghoa, which is known as the Chinese descent from the intermarriage. So it shows that the pre-colonial era, before the arrival of the European colonial, people of different ethnics met and blended in the Nusantara or Indonesia archipelago. In the pre-colonial era, specifically, Chinese descent in the archipelago developed folk tales and traditional theater. They had a tradition of puppet show telling Chinese stories, and this is called Potehi puppet show. This is still, until today, Chinese people still practice and show this puppet show, even though not many anymore. Okay, so there are fewer and fewer number of puppetry telling the Potehi puppet show. And during the pre-colonial era, folktales and traditional theater from Central Java and East Java also adapted Chinese stories. Like what is shown here, these are pictures of records of traditional Central Javanese theater telling about some Packing Thai, a story from China, and the yellow one here is a record of East Java traditional theater, also playing some Packing Thai. Those oral literature above reflects cultural blend. Okay, ethnicities was not a problem at that time. And economic competition did not cause conflict, even though crimes happened in the waters, but it did not result on ethnic conflicts. Things changed when the European colonial arrived. The arrival of European colonial changed the relation among people of different ethnics in the Indonesian archipelago. The European colonials' motive to monopolize the economy, to monopolize the spices from the spices and other commodities such as coffee, tea, cocoa from Indonesian archipelago has changed the relation, because these European explorers and then traders and merchants and trading companies applied the divide and conquer policy, the imperialistic divide and conquer policy. So the ethnic groups available in the archipelago was divided into big three groups with the European as the highest, the Asian frame groups as the middle, and the local people as, or the native people as the lowest. With this division, it locates the Chinese as the most disadvantageous because the native was suspicious for the Chinese closeness to the European people as giving them a lot of privileges. On the contrary, actually, the Chinese were also used by the European colonial in such a way as the European people got more economic benefit from the Chinese people, because the European colonial would, because the European colonial, sorry, I just realized that my slide is, can I show the slide again? Sorry for the technical error. Does it work now?
Yes, it works.
Okay. Thank you. The ethnic segregation placed the Chinese group into the most disadvantageous group because the group earned hatred from the natives because of their suspicion and their prejudice, while actually they were also used by the European colonial in such a way that they got more benefit from both the Chinese and the native people. The Chinese had to pay a lot of money for their travel and also for their housing, and they also had to pay a number of taxes in order that they could survive in the society. When the Dutch colonial applied the ethnic politics, was applied by the Dutch colonial in order to show their gratitude toward the native people after the native people sacrificed their farms and their farming commodities to support the Netherlands economy. Then the implementation of the ethnic politics provided the native people with education and health service. However, the Chinese people did not get benefit from the implementation of the ethnic politics. While the native people were able to go to the school established by the Dutch authority, the Chinese people were not able to join the school established for the local people. They were not also, the Chinese were also unable to get into the Dutch school. So it makes the Chinese people to provide their own education. They invite teachers, or they hire any Chinese people, any Chinese migrants as their children's private teacher, or they send their children to the private Chinese schools supported by the Christian missionaries. When the Dutch colonial applied the ethics politics, they also established an institution for Malay language and literature in 1917. It was known as Kantor voor de Volkslectuur. That is an institution for the local literacy, language and literature, which is now known as Balai Pustaka in Indonesian language. This institution standardized Malay language, which later becomes what we have now as Bahasa Indonesia. They also standardized literariness, and they published books on moralistic values and with moralistic values and messages, and they the publication is limited and at the same time was costly. So these books, these publications were only affordable for those of the high economic class. Again, Chinese people contributed something related with this. Chinese private publishing and printing companies published books, and Chinese peasant people also wrote their own stories, and they published through these private publishing and printing companies. However, their literature, their literary product, was considered as low literature or even junk fiction for these reasons. Firstly, because of the use of the language. These literary works use market Malay, that is Chinese dialect in Malay. That is a mix of local language and Malay. The stories told different and various topics, but matter of factly. So according to the standard, it did not meet the standard of literariness, because the stories tell things matter of factly. They told about ordinary life. And from the economic side, these books, which were mass-produced, they cost more, they were less costly than the books published by the Dutch-sponsored institution. With this publication, Chinese Malay literature actually contribute a lot of things to the development of Indonesian literacy and Indonesian literature. They have become a significant part of the development of literacy through education and publication. As I have said before, that they established their private school, and then with the ability to read and write, a number of them wrote the stories and they published through the private Chinese publishing company. The growth of Chinese Malay literature was significant, and it was recorded that there were approximately 2,000 to 5 works written and translated by Chinese Malay writers and translators from 1870s to 1960s. So from that time on until the 1960s, Chinese Malay literature, Chinese Malay writers and translators have published this number of works. 248 works of those works were published anonymously, and they published various kinds of works. They can be in 73 plays, 183 poetry, and translation of 233 Western works into Malay language, and translation of 759 Chinese works into Malay language. And there were also 1398 original novels and short stories. There must have been more than that, because these are the only a number of publications that the researcher, especially research conducted by Claudine Salomon, that were able to collect the works. Many of the books were unable to find. So Chinese Malay literature flourished during the from the mid 19th century to the mid 20th century. When Indonesia got its independence, then the development of Chinese Indonesian literature changed. During the first government era, from 1945 to 1965, the Chinese Indonesian literature started to fade. The government at that time emphasized on the rise of nationalism. So ethnicity was set aside. So ethnic relations did not get a lot of attention. So it was kind of suppressed because all people focused themselves on building and developing their sense of Indonesian nationalism. Consequently, what literary works that were published during the time developed patriotic literature that raised people's sense of nationalism. But starting the end of 1950s to 1960s, there was a split of organizations. The split of that organization also because of the ideologies. So those called Lekra, or known as Lembaga Kebudayaan Rakyat, People's Cultural Organization. People's Cultural Organization is affiliated with the Indonesian Communist Party, and it is in opposition with the other group, which is in opposition to the communist ideology. They name themselves Manifest Kebudayaan or Cultural Manifest. These two groups are in opposition. Where is Chinese Indonesian literature in this position? During the time, Chinese Indonesian literature started to fade. That was the time of the rise of popular fiction, especially one of the types named martial art story genre, which is very much Chinese Indonesian. So the notable writer is named Asmaraman Sukowati Koping Ho. His Chinese name is Koping Ho, but then when the Indonesian government required Chinese people to use non-Chinese name, we added his name with Asmaraman Sukowati, which sounds non-Chinese. This Chinese Indonesian writer wrote a genre that was specifically his, and this is also specifically Chinese Indonesian. It tells about martial art stories, and this is derived from Chinese kung fu stories, but it is made into Indonesian sense. Koping Ho learned a lot of books. He learned reading, and then he read a lot of classics and a lot of Chinese literature, and this literature inspired him to write martial art stories genre. And he became very popular even until today. So, but his works have been categorized as popular fiction instead of high literary works. The end of the old order totally is a very significant era because during this era, from 1966 to 1998, Chinese-Indonesian literature disappeared. It cannot be separated from the government's policy. The government applied SARA rules. SARA stands from suku, agama, ras, antar golongan in bahasa Indonesia. It means race, ethnic, religion, and groups. The rule requires people not to talk about differences of ethnicities, race, religion, and groups in the society. So, talk about differences was forbidden. That applies for every group of people in the society. To be more specific, the government applied two different policies for different ethnic groups. For Chinese ethnic, the government applied assimilation policy that requires Chinese people to give up their Chineseness and to adapt and adopt the local tradition and the local way of life of the ethnic groups. For the other ethnic groups, those other than Chinese, they have to follow the integration policy. So these ethnic groups could exist, but they have to integrate themselves to Indonesia. They do not have to assimilate the same way as the Chinese people. So for Chinese Indonesian people, this era of government is the hardest because Chineseness was eradicated. Chinese people had to change their Chinese name into non-Chinese name. Chinese language was banned. Schools and any courses were not allowed to teach Chinese languages. Chinese traditions and any practices related with Chineseness were not allowed. If they wanted to do their traditional rituals related with the appreciation to their ancestors, they could do that, but inside the house. They were not allowed to celebrate Lunar New Year, for example. It was forbidden throughout the era from 1966 to 1990. And it certainly interferes with the development of Chinese Indonesian literature. Chinese Indonesian literature disappeared. There is none like the previous publication that was very rich, because literary works have to follow either the government-sponsored institution to produce high literature or to produce popular fiction. What people rarely know is that two Chinese Indonesian authors, Margaret T. and Myra W., were the pioneers in popularizing romance in Indonesia. Their romance gained a lot of popularity, and even until today, their romance are still reprinted. But people hardly understand or people hardly recognize Margaret T. and Myra W.'s Chineseness. These two authors themselves were not that happy to be known as authors, because based on my interview with the author, they mentioned that they were happier if their works were liked by the audience. So they kind of limiting their contact with their audience. especially marketing. Marketing was not that open to to public, even though her works were reprinted and reprinted. She got funds, but she did not have regular sessions of meeting with the fans. Mira W. was more open than marketing, but she also mentioned that it was more pleasant for her if her works were well accepted by the public instead of attempting to make herself popular among her fans. So for them, their works matter better than themselves. When the New Order era ended in 1998, actually it was a painful experience for Indonesian people because it ended with a tragedy in May 1998. The tragedy was known because of Chinese hatred. So many of Chinese Indonesian then migrated to the other countries because of the tragedy, where many Chinese people were killed, raped, and many of their businesses, their shops, their big shops were robbed, and it is still a big national trauma for Indonesian people to face and also to strive for its reconciliation. This ends with this Chinese hybrid. It ended in 1998, and then after that, after the post-New Order to the present, Chinese Indonesian literature reappeared. The condition that becomes open, that started to open opportunities for Chinese Indonesian people to write about their own experience, started with the end of the regulations that restrict Chineseness, as I mentioned before, in 2000. So the President Abdurrahman Wahid and terminated the implementation of regulations that discriminated Chinese people, that restricted Chineseness in 2000. And starting from that year, Chinese Indonesian literature reappeared. There are many stories of Chinese Indonesian experiences were written by Chinese Indonesian authors, and more publishers published Chinese Indonesian literature. From the brief overview, I came to the conclusion that the development of ethnic literature, in this case learning from Chinese Indonesian literature, may indicate the socio-political interference with ethnic relations. And the existence of ethnic literature is historicized, as the development shows previously. And my last conclusion is that there is interfered with the act of differentiation that places groups as either in group or the other. So I hope that my sharing can give you a brief, short knowledge about the development of Chinese Indonesian literature and how ethnic relation has been historicized and also interfered with differentiation. Thank you. Now I will give the time back to Usman. Hello?
Thank you, ma'am. If anyone have question, then ask. If anyone have any query.
Purwanti, I want to ask you one thing. How do you see your contemporary literature?
In general?
Yeah, in general.
Okay.
It still has the influence on Chinese literature.
Can you repeat what you said?
does your contemporary literature has influence of Chinese literature?
Oh, okay, right. In today's context in contemporary literature, um, it is very much free, or it is open for everyone to tell their experience. Chinese Indonesian literature gets a good place in this present situation. But of course, the old tragedy or the past experience, the past painful experience is not easy to resolve. So a number of writers are still, they still choose not to write about their Chineseness in particular, but they write about different experiences of becoming an Indonesian. So more topics, more various topics are written in today's context. Did I answer your question?
Yes, yes. Purwanti, I know that Indonesia is a little bit influenced by Indian culture also. Like you people also have Ramayana and Mahabharata in your culture. Means Ramayana and Mahabharata has also been read by Indonesian and they are performed in Indonesia. Does is it right? Do you does in Indian literature has also influenced Indonesian literature?
Referring to what you mentioned, such as Mahabharata, it is adapted in Indonesia, and there are different versions of the story about Rama, Sinta, about the Ramayana. I believe you also have that story.
Yes,
that
yes,
class.
yes.
Yeah, they are very popular in Indonesia, in Java, and also in Bali. But yeah, they develop in different versions. So the stories, the classics from India, has a very close connection, and also they interfere one with the other. It has been a great influence to the Indonesian traditional literature. Those stories, Mahabharata and Ramayana, have been played into different kinds of traditional theatrical dances, and also leather puppets. And today's writers, some of them also rewrite the story and also deconstruct the story and rewrite the story from different perspectives. So modern or contemporary novelists, story writers also adapt the classic from India.
And one more question, there is a stereotype notion about Indonesia, that Indonesia is a conservative country. Please tell us whether Indonesia is a conservative country or it is a secular country. Because I think that, because I know personally many Indonesian, I believe that it is a secular country with multiculturalism.
Okay, this is a difficult question. By its basic principle that is declared nationally, the first principle is to believe in God. So religion matters in Indonesia. So by our identity card, for example, we have to mention our religion, what religion we believe. So for the sake of national administration, then we will have to state openly what religion we believe. But in practice, there are so many people who just put the name of religion in their identity card so they can practice their own belief. yeah, a mix of beliefs, such as, for
No,
example,
as a society, what about a society as a whole? As a whole, society. Is there multiculturalism in your society?
we cannot say that generally in general, but that is why I start with the regulation. By regulation, we have to put religion as uh, an important thing. But in a society, we have diverse practices of social relations.
What I mean, are all religion free to practice their religion?
Oh, okay.
That.
Not all religion is allowed to practice here. We, Indonesia, formally, officially acknowledged only 6 names of religions, and those who are still struggling now is the local traditions with their own beliefs.
Means 6 religion means it is a secular country, not as it is assumed. Means if the 6 religion are being practiced, that means it is a secular country.
Oh, so that's what you mean, the secular?
Yeah. Means one.
Religious faith.
Means that not one religion is predominant, or like in some countries only one religion is predominant, and that other religion are not allowed to practice. I means if you are having 6 religion and 6 religion are being practiced, and it is very diverse, then it means it is a secular country, multicultural country. Anybody else has to ask any question? Please ask. Dr. Manisha?
Yes, the lecture was really interesting, and it was new for us to know about the Indonesian and the Chinese literature. Thank you for it.
Thank you.
Just I want to say this.
Thank you.
Purwanti, please send us your PPT. We can see it again, because in the beginning we were not able to see it properly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, a friend of mine texted me that the PowerPoint is not worked properly with
Okay.
this
Okay. We can.
Sorry.
I
I will send it to you.
Okay. Anybody else has to ask any question? Usman?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this is the time for vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Now, once again, I am here to present vote of thanks for today's lecture. I would like to thank our today's speaker, Purwanti Kusumatingyas, for visiting and enlightening us with the knowledge. Today's lecture is full of knowledge and informative. I am sure the precious knowledge that our speaker gives us will help us in our studies. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us so much information about Indonesia and Chinese literature. I would like to extend my vote of thanks to Dr. Shaminaz, founder and president of Progressive and Literary Cultural Society, for organizing such an informative lecture for us.
Usman, we all have organized. Me, PLCS team, me, Dr. Manisha, Dr. Anupma, we all have organized. Na? So PLCS team.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I would like to thank all the PLCS team for organizing such informative lectures for us and other people. Thanks to all of you who joined us through Google Meet and Facebook page for listening us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.